Wizard of West LA here. This is one of the most popular low-cost 3D printers that's available at the time of this recording. So let's build one of these printers. So let's take a look at the box and let's see what's inside the box and how the packing is done. So the upper part of the box is actually a pre-assembled base and table of the 3D printer, and also what comes with that is the instruction manual. You'll see what's on top. And when you lift the base, be very careful, because what hangs with the base is actually the thermal extruder. So be very careful that the extruder doesn't hit anything. So let's lift it out and let's see the parts that are on the side. We have some girders, and those girders will be used to stand the extruder portion of the printer. That's the display. So as we lift out the printer base, we have a second layer, and this is what's included in the second layer. It's a filament holder, the power cord. You get a spatula to remove your parts off your kit. You have the glider to glide it across. You have one of the motors for the Z-axis. Those are some more girders. We will be going through all the sizes and how you select each one. And then you have sample filament, some tools that came with it, and some extra small parts, and all the screws are inside of those bags. Step 1, find the girder that has the double holes on it on both sides. On one of those girders there is a hole that's a long distance away. That's the long distance. The other side is the short distance. There's a further view you can see. That is where the girder will go on the base. And make sure the holes are in the right position, because behind that will be the power supply that is bolted into it. Face the bottom in front of you where you can see the slots for the memory and the plug. Now locate your bag that says M545 screws. Look on the base and look for the 2 holes for the screws. And that is how you screw them onto the base, how it will look. Now do the same on the other side with 2 holes facing close to it on the bottom. The other side is single holes. This is the power supply. Before you install it, adjust the switch for 115 or 240. Grab the screws that say M420. Now screw the power supply in, and make sure it has that little notch where the screw fits snugly in that hole. Now attach the front display and locate M5x8 screws. This is the Z-axis limiter switch. Locate it and grab this bag that has the limiting switch, and that goes right on the corner, and there it is installed. Make sure the tabs go across the slit so the switch will not fall out. Let's install the stepper motor for the Z-axis and locate M4x8. Install the stepper motor in, and also now put in the screw bar that works for the Z-axis. Now look for this part, which is the extruder assembly. Grab M4x16s. Find this girder and make sure it has that indented part. And that is the other side of it. This is how it will fit on that girder bar, and make sure the other part fits snugly into the divot. Now locate this part, which has the 3 wheels. As you pick up this assembly, you will notice that is where the fuser head is on it, and see where that piece matches on there. That is how it will fit on there. Now grab some M4 16 screws. Now look for the pulley holder, and you will see the last part, how it's assembled, including the other part, how it is installed. If you have any doubts, this is how the whole assembly should look when it is properly assembled. Now locate the belt. This moves the thermal head back and forth, and it has 2 little slots, one on the left side, and then you will see one on the right side, and the belt fits in that slot. That is where they both fit, left and right. Make sure the traction part is down when you put that in. Make sure that traction part goes into that stepper motor gear that is right there. And that is what they look like when they're fully installed. One hooked up on the left and another hooked up on the right. That is how the belt should look going around the pulley holder. Notice the traction part of the belt goes toward that gear. Now locate this girder that has the 2 holes on it on both sides. They're equally spaced, and that goes on the top. That is where your filament goes. Now grab these screws, M5x25. Now locate one of the filament holders and install that into the extruder stepper motor area. Now put together your filament holder. Now locate these screws, M5T and M5x8. Make sure the T goes across to hold it. Now install all the wiring with regard to the amount of pins. Some have 4, some have 3. Just match them with the proper letters. This is the X-axis wire. This is the Z-axis limiter wire. That's the Z-axis stepper motor, which has more wires. And then E is the extruder wire. Now, after double checking all your wiring and make sure your power supply is hooked up, turn on the printer. And after you turn it on, it should have this screen. Then it will have that screen. Then you push the knob in and move it to prepare. And then turn it to auto home. And everything should move properly to that position. If it doesn't, double check your wiring. Congratulations, you've assembled your printer. Now you need to do an alignment. When you first go to home position, if you look under there, your print head is very far from that table. So you need to be able to have that print head really close to the table not where it's blocking the nozzle, but it needs to pour out the extruded material, PLA, etc., and it needs to draw that on the table. That's basically how 3D printing works. So let's take a look at an alignment process I use. This is one method I use to adjust the table. What I do is I put it in home position, and then I put a sheet of paper, and I will make sure. Now the whole goal of this is that that print head is close to the table, and a width of a standard sheet of paper is close enough for adjustment. So right now that head is too high. If you turn to the right, it will lower the table. If you turn to the left, it will raise the table. So now you will see the table approach the nozzle. Move this here so you can see it. And the goal is, when you raise the table, to have it where the nozzle touches that paper and there's a little bit of resistance, like there is right now. That is a good starting point. And you do the same for each edge, and then check the middle. So that is one way to calibrate the table. So I have a little bit of resistance on here. I'm going to do the same procedure on all four sides. So when this is put in home position, do not raise it or lower it. Leave it at that same level. And you move it, and I'm doing this while it's off. You move the table to all the corners, and that's when you check each one. At the very beginning, the table will be very low, so you need to move it up. So then you move this across to this side, right where you see the nozzle touch the bottom, and you use the sheet of paper. I'm just giving you a position indicator on this right now. So you go on there, on that side, and then you move it to this side. You do the same procedure. Move the table out, and then you center it and move the table here to about center of the table, and then you make adjustments on here. If you go this direction, it will lower the table, and if you go this direction, it will lower the table, and if you go this direction, it will raise the table. So you have to think about the proper direction to turn those. And you can see it when you put the sheet of paper there. So you line it up like that. And now let's load the filament. I do have some filament left over. This is polylactic acid PLA filament. And I'm going to load this in a printer. And just so you know, this is from another 3D printer. Just so you know, one of the important things when you load this in is to cut the end sideways. With the wire cutter seems to work really well, or use the clipper that came with your 3D printer. Interesting thing about this one, this has a metal insert. My other printer does not. You'll see it where it goes. When you put the PLA in, run it through here, it will stop at the gears. Remember, while you're pushing it, to do this with the feeder, and then push it all the way through till it stops on that side. So now we turn on the printer. Let it start up, and push the button in. What I always do is I go to prepare, And auto home is good because that will adjust the head to auto home. I will show you what that does. That will move over, and the table will move over. And that is auto home. And make sure, and the print head is near the start of the table. That's its home position. This is the memory card that stores all of your prints. You copy them from your computer and you put them on this chip and you will see it on the screen. This also contains some demos, which I always use to check alignment. So insert that card into the slot. So we insert this card into the slot. This might go upside down. Yes. Just so you know, on this version the slot goes upside down. So now let's check the menu out. So in the menu I'm going to push the button in. It says there's no card. Just so you know, I just discovered on this printer more information. My other printer, you can put a card inside the printer and it will just see the card and you refresh it. This one you have to turn it off, stick in the card, and now it shows that there is a card, especially when it says change TF card. So now it says print from TF. You can choose that, and these are the demos that it comes with. Also has a nice user manual. You can see the patterns that it has. So let's try printing one. Now there are a variety of things you can put on top of the bed to help the PLA stick. One popular thing I've used, a lot of people use, are glue sticks. That's popular. Another popular thing is painter's tape, which is very popular to put on the bed to help the PLA stick. On this test, we're going to try printing without anything on the bed. I've used that procedure for a lot of prints, and I switch between different types of ways to make the PLA stick. Sometimes when it's too hot or too cold, or the weather outside changes, or even in the room, when the weather changes in the room, I use the glue sticks. So let's print this demo without anything on the bed. If you liked the video, feel free to give us a thumbs up, and also do not forget to hit the subscribe button to keep you informed of everything coming up, and also it helps you to be able to help us present a lot of these videos, which will help you build 3D printers and also many other subjects. And remember, the most important thing, keep on learning.